Chapter 2. The Spark of Inspiration. The afternoon sun cast a warm golden glow through the small window of Raj's modest family home. Dust motes danced in the air, illuminated by the rays that streamed in, creating an almost ethereal atmosphere in the otherwise humble surroundings. Raj sat at a worn wooden table, his lanky frame hunched over as he scrolled through videos on his old smartphone. The device, with its cracked screen and chipped edges, was a stark contrast to the vibrant world it displayed. As Raj's calloused thumb swiped across the screen, his eyes widened with each new video that appeared. Content creators from all walks of life shared their stories, their experiences, and their talents with the world. A travel vlogger stood atop a mountain, arms spread wide as she described the breathtaking view. A young chef meticulously prepared a traditional dish, explaining each step with passion and precision. A storyteller wove tales of ancient myths, bringing them to life with animated gestures and captivating narration. With each passing minute, Raj felt a growing excitement bubbling up inside him. His lips curved into a smile, and his dark eyes sparkled with newfound inspiration. The sounds of village life drifted in through the open window: children's laughter, the distant lowing of cattle, the rhythmic chopping of vegetables in neighboring kitchens. These familiar sounds, once the backdrop of his daily life, now seemed to underscore the stark contrast between his current reality and the world he yearned to be a part of. As a group of young men on motorcycles roared past the house, their raucous laughter fading into the distance, Raj felt a sudden urgency. He needed to share this discovery, this potential new path, with the one person who had always understood his dreams. "Neha!" Raj called out, nearly knocking over his chair as he scrambled to his feet. "Neha, you won't believe what I've found!" He rushed into the living room, where his sister sat cross-legged on the floor, her laptop balanced precariously on her knees. Neha looked up, her eyebrows raised in a mix of curiosity and concern at her brother's sudden outburst. "What is it, Raj?" she asked, pushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Raj plopped down beside her, his words tumbling out in an excited rush. "It's not a ghost, it's the future. YouTube, Neha. Content, creation, it's amazing." He thrust his phone towards her, the screen still displaying a video of a young woman discussing the intricacies of traditional Indian textiles. "Look at this. These people, they're sharing their lives, their ideas, their talents with the whole world, and people are watching, learning, connecting." Neha's eyes flicked between the screen and her brother's animated face. She could see the passion igniting in him, a fire she hadn't witnessed since they were children, dreaming of escaping their small village. Yet, beneath her intrigue, a flicker of concern shadowed her features. "It does sound interesting, Raj," she said carefully, her tone measured. "But how exactly does this relate to you, to us?" Raj's enthusiasm didn't waver. "Don't you see? This could be my chance, our chance, to make something of ourselves, to share our stories, our village's stories, with the world. I could create videos about our lives here, about the challenges we face, the beauty of our traditions." As he spoke, Raj's hands moved animatedly, painting pictures in the air of the videos he envisioned. Neha listened intently, her initial skepticism slowly giving way to curiosity. She could see the potential in what Raj was describing, the possibility of bridging their small village with the wider world. "It sounds wonderful, Raj," she said, a small smile tugging at her lips. "But have you thought about the practicalities, the equipment you'd need, the time it would take to learn how to make these videos?" Raj's excitement dimmed slightly, but his determination remained unwavering. "I know it won't be easy, Neha, but I'm willing to learn, to work hard. This feels right, like something I was meant to do." Neha nodded, understanding the feeling all too well. She had felt the same way when she first started freelance writing, despite the challenges and uncertainties it presented. "I believe in you, Raj," she said softly. "But what about Ma And the rest of the family, you know how they feel about unconventional career paths. The mention of their family brought a shadow of doubt to Raj's face. He remembered the disapproval he had faced at the family gathering, the pressure to conform to traditional expectations. For a moment, the weight of those expectations seemed to press down on him, threatening to smother the spark of inspiration that had ignited within him. But then he looked at Neha, saw the support and understanding in her eyes, and felt his resolve strengthen. "I know it won't be easy to convince them," he said, "but I have to try. This feels too important to ignore." Neha reached out and squeezed his hand. "Then we'll figure it out together. Tell me more about these content creators you've been watching. What kind of stories do you want to tell?" As the afternoon wore on, Raj and Neha huddled together over his phone and her laptop, diving deep into the world of content creation. Raj shared videos of creators who inspired him. A young man from a small town who had built a successful channel showcasing local cuisine, a woman who used her platform to advocate for rural education, a group of friends who created comedic skits about village life. With each example, Neha's own excitement grew. She began to see the potential not just for Raj, but for their entire community. "You could do a series on the artisans in our village," she suggested, her writer's mind already spinning with ideas. "Or document the seasonal festivals, show how we celebrate compared to the big cities." Raj nodded enthusiastically. "Exactly! And I interview the elders, preserve their stories and wisdom. There's so much here that the world doesn't see or understand about rural life." As they brainstormed, the possibilities seemed endless. Neha suggested incorporating elements of their daily life, the early morning routine of the farmers, the rhythmic sounds of the textile looms, the vibrant colors of the local market. Raj's eyes lit up with each new idea, his mind already visualizing how he could capture these moments on camera. Their collaborative energy was palpable, filling the small room with a sense of hope and possibility. For a moment, the constraints of their circumstances faded away, replaced by the excitement of creative potential. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the room, Raj felt a need to step outside to see his village with new eyes. He excused himself, promising Neha he'd be back soon to continue their planning. The village streets were alive with the usual late afternoon bustle. Women chatted as they returned from the communal well, their colorful saris bright against the dusty road. A group of children played cricket in an empty lot, their shouts and laughter echoing through the air. The scent of cooking, fires and spices wafted from open windows, a reminder that dinner preparations were underway in every household. As Raj walked, his mind raced with ideas. He saw potential videos in every scene, the graceful movement of the women balancing water pots on their heads, the infectious joy of the children at play, the skilled hands of the village potter shaping clay on his wheel. He paused at the edge of a field, taking in the vast expanse of green stretching towards the horizon. The setting sun painted the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, a daily spectacle that he had often taken for granted. Now he imagined capturing this moment on camera, sharing the beauty of his home with viewers around the world. A group of farmers were making their way home from the fields, their tools slung over their shoulders. They nodded to Raj as they passed, their faces etched with the weariness of a long day's work. Raj felt a pang of guilt. Would they understand his desire to pursue this new path? Would they see it as a betrayal of their way of life? As if sensing his thoughts, one of the older farmers, Govind uncle, stopped beside him. "Heavy thoughts for such a young man," he said, his weathered face creasing into a kind smile. "What troubles you, beta?" Raj hesitated, unsure how to explain his newfound passion to someone so deeply rooted in tradition. But something in Govind uncle's gentle gaze encouraged him to speak. "I've been thinking about new opportunities, uncle," Raj said carefully. "Ways to share our stories, our village's stories, with the world." Govind uncle nodded thoughtfully. The world is changing fast, isn't it? Sometimes I worry our ways will be forgotten. He placed a calloused hand on Raj's shoulder. Perhaps it's good that young people like you are thinking of ways to preserve them. Raj felt a surge of gratitude for the old man's understanding. It gave him hope that perhaps, with time and patience, he could help others see the value in what he wanted to do. As he made his way back home, the weight of expectation still pressed on him, but it felt lighter now, balanced by the excitement of possibility. The village, with its familiar sights and sounds, no longer felt like a constraint, but a wellspring of stories waiting to be told. Raj entered the house, his heart racing with a mix of anticipation and nervousness. Neha looked up from her laptop, a questioning look on her face. "How was your walk?" "Enlightening." Raj replied, settling back down beside her. "I see our village differently now, Neha. There's so much here that deserves to be shared with the world." Neha smiled, recognizing the determination in her brother's voice. "So you're really going to do this?" Raj nodded, his resolve strengthened by his walk through the village. "I am. Will you help me?" "Of course," Neha said without hesitation. "Where do we start?" Raj reached for her laptop, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. "First, we learn. There's so much I need to understand about video editing, content strategy, building an audience." As the evening deepened into night, Raj and Neha huddled around the glowing screen, diving into tutorials and articles about content creation. They watched videos on basic filming techniques, researched affordable equipment options, and studied successful creators' strategies for growing their channels. Raj's eyes burned from the hours of screen time, but he couldn't bring himself to stop. Each new piece of information felt like a step closer to realizing his dream. He scribbled notes furiously, jotting down ideas for his first video, potential topics to explore, and questions to research further. As the clock ticked past midnight, Neha gently closed the laptop. "Enough for tonight, Raj. You need to rest." Raj rubbed his eyes, suddenly aware of how tired he was. "You're right. Thank you, Neha, for everything." Neha squeezed his shoulder affectionately. "That's what sisters are for. Just promise me you'll approach this sensibly. We'll make a proper plan, okay?" Raj nodded, grateful for her grounding presence. As he lay in bed that night, his mind buzzed with possibilities. He imagined himself standing in front of a camera, sharing the stories of his village with the world. The image filled him with a sense of purpose he'd never felt before. In the quiet darkness of his room, Raj made a silent promise to himself. He would pursue this dream, no matter the obstacles. He would become a voice for his village, a bridge between his world and the vast digital landscape beyond. As sleep finally claimed him, Raj's dreams were filled with vibrant images, his village seen through a camera lens, his videos touching lives across the globe, his family proud of the path he had chosen. The spark of inspiration that had ignited that afternoon had grown into a flame of determination, ready to light the way forward on his journey into the world of content creation.